Okay, so spoiler alert, the welder is actually ridiculously good. Can't believe it. £99.99. There'll be a link down in the description. Go and take a look at it. Please thumbs up, subscribe and comment. Be much appreciated. Right, hi there. So today we're going to be taking a look at this, the cheapest inverter MIG welder. And when I say inverter MIG welder, I mean it is actually a MIG welder. It's not a flux core wire welder. So the story behind this is I made a video about the cheapest inverter MIG welder 2 years ago, and that's got over 100,000 views on it. And every so often I've had about 200, I think now, emails about is there any other cheaper inverter MIG welders out there. And until about 2 weeks ago, when I had an email off someone, I didn't think there was a cheaper inverter MIG welder out there. And that cheap inverter MIG welder, which I originally done the video on, has been a really good machine. It's 160 amps, and you know, it's an inverter MIG welder with a Euro torch, and it's been absolutely flawless. It works perfect. Haven't had any trouble with it whatsoever. And I would still say that if you want to invert a MIG welder, if you want a MIG welder in general, I would go and buy that one. But now we've got one for under £100. It's 140 amps on the MIG side, but the thing is with it, it will also do MMA, so you can do stick welding. The other thing is, people still keep asking me about these cheap flux core wire welders and whether they should get one for doing thin car bodywork steel. And now I'm not saying you can't do it with this, because I have done some thin steel with it in the past. It can be done, but it's just not a pleasant experience, and there's a lot of clean up in between welding and that, because it's flux core and it leaves that flux coating over the top of the surface. So in general I say no, don't get it. But this has been a good welder. It's stuck together everything that I've wanted it to stick together over the years, so you know, I can't say too much bad about it. You know, it's not a high quality welder, it's never going to be a high quality welder, it's just a flux core welder. But yep, so let's get onto this one here. So I was emailed about this. I bought this off of Amazon out of my own money. This has actually been sent to someone else. Well, it's not actually my welder, it's actually somebody else's welder, but I'm getting to review it first. So it's under £100. It's currently at $99.99 on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description and in the comment section below, so if you want to go and take a look. It's the Display for Top welder. So let's see what you get in the box. So you get one of those, what you always get, one of these cheap masks, which you always get with cheap welders. You get instruction manual. There's a couple of tips there come with it. You get a spool of flux core, so you can, when you first get this, if you haven't got any gas, you can use the flux core wire until you've you know, saved up enough money to get yourself a gas bottle. But I mean, that's dependent on whether the actual welder's any good in the first place. And a little chip and hammer with. Then, like I said, this is also an MMA welder, so we can do stick welding with it. And so you get a ground cable. Not very long, but that's to be expected for £100. You know, it's about 1.5 meters or so, I would say, but they're pretty cheap to upgrade anyway. And then you get stick electrode holder. It's got quite a good spring on there, but it is, you know, cheap plasticky, but you know, it'll do the job. I've seen worse actually. That's not too bad. And then we come to the machine itself. We can get it out. It's quite well packaged actually. It's got enough packing in there, so just dump that over there, because I've got to put this all back together after. So I'll just quickly measure the torch length, because the torch length is, I think it's getting up on for 2 meters, so that's not too bad. Because people always ask these things. Yeah, so the torch is 2.1 meters in length. it's got this little bit here that you've got to put on the front. The strain relief for the torch. Go, and then we've got this little pigtail on the front here for switching from electronegative, electropositive. So the one thing that I thought was interesting about this machine, it's like an auto machine. So I don't know if you can see this, but this is what, you know, I'm not sure how well it's going to work or whatever. I don't even know if you can actually hear me properly now over this fan, but anyway. So up here you can have MIG, MMA, you can switch between the two. So if you're set on MIG, you can only use 0.8mm wire. So that's in the flux or gas mode, because it's an it's preset in the settings of the welder inside. So you can only use 0.8. You could use 0.6mm wire if you wanted to, but obviously that means then the wire feed speeds and that will probably be off a bit, but I mean it might work, I don't know, it might work. But you can select between gas, flux core, and then this is combined amperage and wire speed, so it selects the wire speed for the thickness of material that you want to weld. So it goes from 0.5mm up to 4mm. And so in the MMA mode you can do 120 amps max, and in the MIG mode you can do 140 amps. So, you know, it's looking pretty good, you know. It could be a good little machine, hopefully. Because people keep asking me, like I say, about the flux core, and this is cheaper than the flux core ones. And it should give a lot better weld quality, hopefully. So the torch is reasonably robust, you know. I've seen these ones before. I've actually got one, I think this is the same torch what used to be on my Draper MIG, but I converted that to a Euro torch now. But yeah, they're pretty durable. It's got a wire liner inside it. You know, it's one of those slide on, you can get all these bits, they're really cheap to buy. And then there's a MIG tip in there which is 0.8mm. to go with the 0.8mm flux core wire that comes with it. Let's just see the inside here. So yeah, it's pretty much standard setup. It will only take a small spool of wire, obviously, because I mean this is pretty compact little machine. This is, I mean, as you can probably see in comparison to that Sealy Mighty MIG 100 there, and this weighs like 20 kilos and this weighs 7 kilos, and this goes from, I think it's 20, yeah, it said 20 amps up to 140 in MIG mode, and 20 to 120 in MMA mode, yeah. So spec wise this machine is better than this machine, and this machine is cheaper than this machine. So yeah, it's pretty standard there. And then on the back of the machine, we will get into some welding in a minute. I'm sorry this video is a bit long, but people are going to want to know this stuff. Yep, so on the back we've got the spigot here for the gas, power button, there's the lead, fan, and then duty cycle on here. So we've got at 140 amps it's 25% duty cycle, and at 70 amps it's 100% duty cycle. And in the stick mode we've got 25% at 120 and 100% at, is that 60? Yep, 60 amps. Right, so I'm just going to quickly take the casing off and have a look on the inside. Right, so let's take the lid off. Right, so let's have a look. Yeah, it looks pretty good actually. Oh, it's actually got a gas solenoid in here as well. So there's no gas valve inside the actual torch, that's good. Yeah, it looks pretty good actually. definitely looks like it could be 140 amps for sure. I obviously can't rip this all apart because it's not my machine. The capacitors inside this are a lot bigger than in the supposed 400 amp machine that I've got, which is a stick welder, and it's also got 2 transformers inside this one. I don't know if you can actually see that, but there's 2 transformers in there. I will take some pictures because I'm going to hopefully upload this to the welding forum, so I'll put a link to that down in the description as well if anybody wants to see any of the pictures. I'll take some pictures with a flash and take some pictures in that side there. But anyway, yeah, it looks pretty good on the inside overall. I mean, it looks quite well to put together. The plug is earthed to the chassis here, and all the connections are covered up. We've got some goop on all the connectors so they don't come out. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad, you know. Right, so we're going to set it up for flux core first. So that means you want your earth to go into the positive, which is the electrode. Here, it doesn't say negative positive on here, but this is electrode, this side's ground, this is positive, okay? So that means then you want the little pigtail, which is going to the torch, on the ground, and the electrode holder sign going to the ground, okay? And then just run the wire through. Make sure you don't never let go of the wire if you can help it, because if not it will just all spring out everywhere. Just turn the machine on and run the cable through. Just take the tip out. And there we go. Right, so we'll go and do some flux core wiring. Right, okay, so we've got to set the machine up, so you've got to turn it to the MIG mode, which is the top one here, and then change this to flux core, and then change this to the thickness of material that you're going to be welding on. Thin sheet steel, that's like 1 mil thick. There's some very smooth arc on it, I've got to admit. Penetration is all the way through the back, not bad at all for flux core. DC flux core, I might add, not AC. Right, so this metal here is approximately 3.5-4 mil thick. So I'm going to turn that up on the machine to 3.5 or so. That's got a very smooth arc indeed. That was really good. So there you go. That looks like a really good bead. Right, so we're going to switch it over to stick welding mode, so that means we've got to take the little pigtail out for the MIG torch, and we've got to put the ground cable on the negative and torch on the positive. And now we've got to switch it over to MMA. So now it's in stick welding mode. Okay, so this is a 3.2mm 6013. Yeah, so that starts really well. Lovely smooth arc on it as well. Right, so I'm switched over to a 7014 rod now, so we'll try that. Okay, so we've got this set up as gas MIG now. So there's the solid core wire there. And we've got straight CO2 we're welding with here. Going into the back. conclusion, what do I think of this machine? Well, got to say, it's actually a really good little machine. I'm really impressed with it. Yeah, £99. It's definitely the new cheapest inverter MIG welder out there. That's absolutely brilliant. Plus you've got the stick welding feature as well, so you know it's got a heck of a lot more features than this thing has. I mean, with this one here you're stuck with just flux core. Here you've got a MIG machine, so that means you could put a bottle of argon on it and weld some aluminium. You can weld stainless steel, you can weld steel, and then you've got the stick weld inside as well. So absolutely brilliant. So let's take a look at the flux core. So these are the best welds that I got with the flux core. So this was when I was pulsing the trigger and doing mini spot welds all along, and as you can see I was able to weld along now. This is 1mm thick, came out pretty good, good penetration on the back. This was just a continuous string, continuous bead, and worked really well actually. And look at that, there's absolutely no spatter on there, hardly at all, because of the DC output of this machine. Whereas if you're using an AC machine, you will know that this will be completely spatter marked, and I didn't put anything on this material. And you can see the penetration on the back there. Now going over to the stick welding. So here is a couple of beads that I've done along here. And then this corner edge here I welded up. Not bad at all. And then ran a few beads along this piece of plate here. Not bad at all. Didn't really clean it up, so. And then to the MIG welding. So this is 1mm sheet steel. I wasn't really trying, I was just whacking a few beads down. And yeah, it came out really well. This is with straight CO2, so it's 100% CO2. And yeah, welds really good. And there's some beads along here. Absolutely brilliant. Nice little machine. On here, this was the stick welding. This was the 7014. It doesn't like the 7014s quite as much as the 6013s, but you can weld with it. This material is quite thin for doing 3.2mm rods on, so I was having trouble doing a continuous bead because it was just going to burn straight through the material. So it's definitely got plenty of power. Here was some other MIG welding here. Came out really nice. There's all those MIG welds there. Came out nice. Stick welding, 7014. Yeah, this material is only like 2.5mm thick, so with a 3.2mm rod it was just wanting to burn straight through. So not too bad. And then the 6013 I welded around the bottom here. Blew through there because this material is too thick for a 3.2mm rod. Well, and it's probably my welding. And then in there, that's the best bead that I got around there. Yeah, not too bad at all. So, what do I think of it? I think if you're considering buying one of these cheap flux core welders, I would definitely get this machine here. It's a heck of a lot better, in my opinion. It's got a really nice smooth DC arc from that inverter. Yeah, brilliant. If you can't afford a bottle of gas at first, you can go with the flux core and you're going to get a lot better welds with this machine than you are with that, because with that machine it will just be covered in spatter. So this is AC flux core welding here, and you can see all the spatter in there. It's absolutely covered in spatter. So yep, with the DC it's a lot cleaner. I would definitely consider going for this unit here. Yeah, so I'll put a link down in the description to it. It's on Amazon. Yeah, if you're interested, go take a look at it. I would definitely get this one over that one. I don't know how, obviously, durability wise, I haven't got a clue. It's not my machine, so if the person who has it tells me it's died, I'll let you know in the future in the comment section down below. But yeah, please go and take a look at the video of the last cheapest MIG welder, which is up there. You can still buy that machine, and it's a 160 amp. Does all what this does here. This one is a lot simpler because you've just got the one dial, and the wire speed and that it seems to work really well because it's a combined knob, so you're selecting the wire speed and the amperage at the same time, which I was a bit not sure about, but it actually works really well. So yeah, if you're interested in it, go take a look at it. Link down in the description. I think you can get this in the US as well. I'll try to put a link to that as well. Yeah, so please give the video a thumbs up, please comment down below, and please subscribe. It would be much appreciated. Thanks very much. See you next time. Bye.